Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 10 of the Utopiacast. I'm your host, Erik here with my co-host, Michael Beaupre. Michael, say hello to the people.
What's up?
And we are joined, did not have him for episode 9, but we are rejoined by Mr. Improved his total, not by 100, but by a lot, last competition that we will talk about. Elliot Competed. Elliot, say hello to the people.
Yo.
And we are back, and we're going to get into some really cool things that we kind of thought about earlier today. Before we get into everything, I guess the main topic, Elliot, you competed, I guess, not last Saturday, but the Saturday before that. Am I right with that?
Yeah. A week and a half ago.
Week and a half ago. It was meet number 4 for you.
Yep.
And you did pretty well. There were really high highs and there was really low lows. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. Honestly, the lows weren't even that low for me.
No, absolutely. And I, like we talked about before, I found it fitting that you did your post-meet recap and you didn't post any bench at all. And you're known as the bench kid, so it was so fun.
It's been all bench all
around, yeah, exactly. But we'll get into why maybe that kind of happened. Yeah. But so let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
So the meet was at Schofield Sports Performance, same venue that Michael had the competition that he did. Obviously, I coached these two guys, and I was a co-meet director along with Andrew Graves. So this was your third time competing at Schofield's?
Yeah, third time, yeah.
Okay, so you're well-versed with the venue. I mean, you know the lay of the land, and you knew everything. And you had more people this time, right? We had, Logan, we had Brandon, all those people. You showed up pretty stunted up besides the shoes.
That was euphoric.
Elliot wore the Air, I call them the Air Dads, but I think they're called the Air Monarchs, which you love for some reason.
Air Monarchs?
I believe that's what they're called,
that's
right?
That's what they're called.
Yeah.
That's what they're called?
Yeah. I believe they're called Air Monarchs.
624s.
Right. Well,
New Balances.
Yeah, regardless, you were, you pulled up, and what was the color scheme of did you wear an actual suit or was it just a dress shirt?
No, I wore an actual suit, yeah.
What was the color scheme? I can't remember yours.
It was the white and blue New Balances, the 624s, the black pants, the black suit and shirt with the blue tie to kind of complement that New Balance look.
Absolutely.
It was kind of sick, bro.
It was kind of sick.
I really wish I got a picture of it.
I mean, that was the thing we talked about.
We all got a picture.
That was the thing we were talking about in last pod. That's like my one regret from the day is I was so busy with the other session. You guys were like, obviously anxious to weigh in and whatnot. I just wish we got in a picture with all of us in the suits. It was sick.
Yo, hold up, though. Chris.
Yeah, we talked about this in the last one.
Didn't even pull up in the suit, bro. Come on.
Well, I will say, though, Chris was stunted up. He was wearing some fresh shit. But, yeah, I really wanted him to do it. We were one person short of everyone doing it. But
It's okay. But
you guys definitely made a statement. It was so sick.
It
was actually
no,
you absolutely should.
I felt cool, too. I thought I was going to feel stupid.
No, not at
but
all,
with
yeah.
all of us doing it, it definitely, worked.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Dude, you looked fresh.
I was going to say, I'm going to say out of everyone, Michael's, unfortunately, was definitely the sickest.
Well, because I feel like I just threw together stuff that I had,
right,
and tried to make it look good. Logan, obviously, and Brandon, I think, both just went out and bought stuff for the day.
Right.
Michael, you look like your hat
he's about to head out to the wedding.
It was tailored. Bro.
Yeah, exactly.
I had that from previous things.
Yeah.
I had
so he was ready to go.
Yeah, and the Yeezys.
I didn't even notice that you were wearing those.
Yeah, they got full of choco, so I'm mad.
my fucking suit jacket is full of chalk too. I'm gonna have to take that to the dry cleaners or something because the shit's not coming off.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like I said, we're gonna start from the beginning. Elliot, what'd you weigh in at?
195.
Elliot, what was your body weight for 95% of this prep?
I remember the one that I remember is I weighed in at 214 one day.
Okay, so and you weren't 214 for most of this prep, but we'll probably stay conservative. Say you were around 208, 212 for most of the prep. You weighed in at 195.
Yeah.
More to that to come. So this is your second meet in the 90 kilo. No, technically your third because your first meet was in the 93 kilo class, but you were light for that one.
Yeah, I was 190.
Yeah. So. Okay, so on the day a lot of cool things kind of happened for you. You stepped up and you went to the next level. We talked about, in my opinion, not just in terms of the lifts you're putting up, but in terms of your mindset. You are a seasoned lifter now. 4 meets is a lot. We were in the back room. You were warming up for squat, and you took your first, I think it was your second warm up. It was 100 kilos. And Elliot went down, and his first rep was I'm not egregiously high, but I knew he needs to go lower in order to get 3 white lights. So he had his headphones in, and I mouthed out lower, and he looked at me, sunk it, and it started moving easier. And for those who have ever watched Elliot warm up, most of his warm-ups look awful, and then he gets to a, I mean, come on, and then you get to your top set, and usually moves pretty good. Yeah. But this day, everything was moving really good, and that's uncommon for you.
This is a really cool moment.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, we're on today.
Yeah.
What did you end up squatting?
402 pounds.
182.5 kilos.
Yeah.
So that's the one that you wanted. That was the first time you've ever attempted anything over 400. First time you attempted anything over 395. 391 coming into the day, or 390 was your best before, and then your best meet squat was 374.
374, yeah.
Pretty huge PR.
Absolutely huge. Into the fours.
So
that one was for Sam. That one was for Josh.
You said it.
Everyone, really, but...
You said it.
I said it.
You did.
I told him I would, and I did.
In January, you said, I'm not stepping back in the platform unless I'm leaving with a 400-plus squat, and you did it, man.
Yeah.
So that was huge. What was the song you picked that you came out to for the squat?
Bro, Die Hard.
Bro, that was hard. I'm going to be honest with you.
See the God in me.
It was just like a emotional, like ethereal moment for me.
I know.
About the pain away. I saw. So that was huge. Deadlift went well. Bench. Well, we'll get into deadlift.
Bro.
Bench. Let's talk about it. Elliot, you opened up at what?
286.
Did you get that or did you not?
I did get it.
You did get it, but it was
very difficult.
It was much more harder than I guess we could have anticipated.
It was definitely like a high second attempt.
What did we jump to on the second?
The second, so this is actually, I was confused about this. I thought this whole time that we jumped to 297.
Right.
And I've been telling everyone that I failed 297. We jumped to 303.
Right. And we did jump to 303. What was our planned top end plan for the day?
314.
314. And you missed 303.
Yeah.
Very close.
Oh my God.
It was about,
don't even get me started.
So the first attempt, it was probably about 2 inches away from lockout.
Yeah.
Which was very frustrating to miss that high. We retook it, as any person should if they miss.
Yeah.
You missed it again.
I think the second attempt was better, though.
I actually thought the third attempt was better. I thought the third attempt...
That's what I meant. Like, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the second attempt at that weight was better.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Whereas you were probably 2 inches or 2 to 3 inches away on the second attempt, on the third attempt, you were literally like one arm away from locking that out. And I was screaming. I could not believe... I've never seen a human being stay on a bench for as long. Seriously, if you guys ever get a chance to... I don't know if you've actually... Did you get to see it?
I didn't see it in person because I was warming up.
Right, exactly.
I wished I was able to watch you, but I didn't get to see anything you did that day.
Yeah, right.
It was so
but
sad.
If you go back and watch the live stream, I have to time it, but in the moment, in the moment it always seems longer than what it is. It legitimately seemed like it was like 5 or 6 seconds. He was like stuck right here and he was staying on it.
I know, bro.
And he was
yelling. Everyone was yelling, "Stay on it, stay on it." Yeah.
I'm trying.
So you missed that, unfortunately, and you left with a 286 bench, which ties your meet PR, but obviously not what we wanted.
Yeah.
So this would be a good learning point for some people who lose a bunch of body weight going into the meet. And it's not to say that the body weight loss is the only factor, and there's probably other things. And I told you, I was like, if I could have done that again, I probably would have jumped you to 297, and then maybe we take a crack at 303, like a 2.5 kilo. So I take blame there. I should have been, objective. But we almost kind of right the ship because you were 2 inches away the first time, an inch away. But what do you think affected your bench press most on the day?
I think most was the body weight loss.
Right.
Just not even because like I haven't cut that much ever, really. So in my head going into it, I was like, yeah, I lost body weight, but like nothing changes. Bench is still bench. Like just do your technique, do what you need to do. You're good at it. Like it's going to feel harder because that's what I thought. I was like, I'm lighter. It's going to feel harder, but I can still do it. But then I particularly on the Tuesday before, when I had to take my opener, the thing about losing so much body weight is it's not just you feel weaker. It's like actually your position on the bench and the way the bar lands on your chest and the way you can drive it is all like completely out of whack.
Yeah.
So when I took my opener that day, like it literally felt like the bar was on a different spot on my chest. I couldn't drive it like up and back like properly. My back was wobbly on the bench because there's not enough mass there.
Yeah.
Just everything felt completely out of whack, and that's probably what I would say.
Yeah, and I remember you texted me, and I remember you sent me the video, and it just looked unlike any other of the benches that I've seen you do.
Yeah.
The bar was pressed straight up towards the ceiling. It had like a really weird wiggle once you got to the top, and I was like, where is your backing up? Like, what the hell is going on? But, again, when it comes down to it, things do taper, and you hit 285 on that day. Realistically, you probably did have 297, and if it were me, if we redid it, you probably did have 303. But that was probably too aggressive of a jump. But now we know that I'll save this for the very end. Now we know we'll never weigh in that light. Let's talk about deadlifts first. You, besides your first meet, which your deadlift was like 374 or something like that. Yeah. I've never hit a third attempt deadlift. Something weird, and it's never you just failed it. It's never
always like a technicality.
Yeah, I believe the first time it was up and down. Second time was up and down as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So up and down for both of those. What did you end up pulling on the day?
453. No, 452.
452. I think it rounds out. It's like 452.8. So we'll call it 453. 205 kilos. That was a 50-pound meet PR and an all-time PR.
Yeah.
How'd it feel?
It felt amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to say specifically, sometimes I don't like to do this because I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like people feel like they're being left out or whatnot, but Dave Kaler, I'm not kidding you. Having like talked to him months prior, asking him about forums, sending him my videos, kind of getting hype, making a new friend, I would say. And then having him behind me during that deadlift and, running it back, seeing him scream in my ear.
Before the lift, too.
Before the lift, yeah. He was like, do it for me. Like,
yeah.
I was like, yo, that was seriously emotional.
Yeah, man.
And I felt that, too, with squat, with Sam and Josh.
Yeah.
It was just great. And, you making my third deadlift, I know that's a big deal for you. Anything's a big deal for you.
It's all big. Yeah, it's a big deal to me.
Everyone behind me, like, I don't know. Just felt so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest with you, this was probably, you were kind of like spinning around with your deadlift. You had the thumb gate. Yeah. You had, you're messing around with some technique stuff. And then you talked about it on the last time that you're on. You finally found a position that worked for you. Mm-hmm. And then for the first time ever, you ran with it. And you didn't change it. And it worked out, and I really hope that you don't fuck with it anymore because you're going to continue to progress. That 205 was an all-time PR, and you probably had 7.5 more kilos on you on the day.
I know. I held it for a long time.
You held it for a very long time. And what was the song?
The go-to song for my third attempt deadlift, bro. Chasing Pavements.
It was Chasing Pavements by Adele, and this time the prophecy was fulfilled. It was so emotional. I was like, people who saw the live stream or me on the day, right before he went under, I was watching, and I guess my default thing is I like go like this and like fetal position type deal. Right before, I don't know what I said. I don't know if I was actually saying a prayer, if it was like adjusting my hand. I don't think it was. I think it was actually just like saying like, God, please just allow him to make this. Like just let him experience this one time. I went like this, and I was just like hoping to God and I couldn't even watch it. And eventually he locked it out. We got lit.
I forget if it was my squat or my deadlift, but at one point you're literally on the ground going like this.
I was lit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that goes to show. You were in that. You totaled 1140.
Yeah.
1141.
Yeah.
Which your last meet was 1063. So we put only 80 pounds or so on your total. Yeah, a little disappointing.
Now that we say it like that, I am disappointed about the bench.
Yeah. Well, again, you probably, if we would have took that, you probably would have been about 90. But regardless, you have more meets to do. And here's the next piece. You're not going to be a 90 kilo lifter anymore.
No mo.
So you made the commitment to move up to 100 kilos, correct?
Yeah.
Seamus, if you're watching this, Evan Wright, if you're watching this, Dave, Bobby, we got him. We're going to do it.
I'm not going to be the little kid anymore.
Right, exactly. And you are, again, on the taller side, so I think this is going to be a game changer for you.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Now, before we transition to the thing that we're going to talk about main on the day, your next meet is going to be probably when?
In March.
In March, so probably the state championship?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about that. Michael, that'll be your next one as well?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have the band back together.
That's actually exhilarating.
Team Hogan will be going for best team again this time.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not naive because there weren't many teams. The like Stand Strong sent a bunch of people to like a high school meet, and Team Kang only had a couple of people or whatever. But I think we're gonna have it full force this time.
So it'll be like team against team.
It'll be actually team versus team, and I would like to win that. So let's go ahead and do that, guys. No pressure.
You're gonna win the teens.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I
can't say that. I don't know who's gonna show up out of the blue.
Yeah, of course. And remember, at the end of the day, the only thing you can control is what you can do. That was the last piece. Elliot made his first podium. He placed third overall for the teens. Logan Allaire, Team Hogan athlete, placed second. Gabe Katz, I believe is his last name, placed first. Really good group of guys. You guys performed really well. Elliot, did it feel any different making a podium versus not making one? Be 100% honest.
100% honest, yes.
Good. I'm glad
different, but not in the way that I think a lot of people assume it would.
Right.
Like, it's cool. It makes you feel more validated as a lifter.
Yep.
And it is a good mark of progress, but at the end of the day, like, it's just that. It's another mark of progress for me.
Right.
So, like, kind of like what Michael said the last podcast I was on, if he didn't win and he made nationals, he would be happier than if he won and didn't make nationals.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that personal growth, you know. I didn't really compete so that I could make the podium, but it's definitely cool that I did.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just more demonstrative of that personal growth.
Yeah, exactly. And we've talked about this before. As you know, me and Michael have made podiums and stuff like that. It becomes less and less important as you go on, because it's very fleeting. It's like, okay, you get your name called, and I mean, Michael got some money and stuff like that. We're not going to say that wasn't cool. But yeah, you get your name called. You're in front of people for like 5 extra minutes, and you know,
if that.
Yeah, if that. So it's like it doesn't necessarily matter.
It's also completely dependent on who shows up the day.
Right.
You know, who's there. It's like you can be the greatest lifter you've been.
Yeah.
Still not make podium, or you could be the worst lifter you've been and make podium.
Yeah, exactly. And that probably doesn't feel good if you didn't have a really good performance and you placed second or something like that. So basically extrinsic motivation is not really the motivation to keep going in this.
I found like focusing on like yourself versus like trying to get a podium definitely helped.
Right.
This meet.
Yeah.
For me, it just keeps you focused on yourself. You're not looking at other people.
Absolutely. And even when it comes down to like trying to place at like a national meet, that's why you have like someone else with you so they can worry about that.
Right.
You should not be like looking like, where's he at?
Trying to do the dots and everything.
Yeah, because then you're going to fuck up yourself. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, you perform really well. I'm really proud of you. And we've only scratched the surface, man. We're 4 meets in. And
I'm so excited.
Only like a year, too?
Yeah, within a year. All right. Yeah. So his first meet, well, this is what we're going to talk about today. You're going to see the progress that he made. So what we are going to talk about today, I have done 9 powerlifting meets myself. Michael, you have done 9. He started competing earlier than me as well. Elliot, you have done 4. So we've competed all at different times, different time spans, I guess, in terms of you've never done, no one else, I know you haven't, I know I haven't, but you've never done a non-USAPL meet.
No, I haven't.
Right. So Michael competed really early on when USAPL, the raw side at least, was taking off. I came on, midway through that, and then Elliot, recently. We wanted to talk about each of the meets that we've done, and then some key things, maybe our numbers, and then also some things that we remember on the day, because just to show some people, I guess, either A, where we've come from, B, the things that we've had to deal with, or just see it, just a fun series of memories, because stuff like this, like, we'll always remember, because powerlifting meets aren't like basketball games or baseball games where you literally have hundreds over your lifetime. We only have 9. If you don't remember, Michael, your first meet was in 2014. You probably don't remember every single thing about that.
No, not really.
But, you're more likely to remember that than, like, I don't know, a rec basketball game that you played in, I don't know, when you were first grade.
Right, like our football games.
I remember a lot of those stuff. I don't remember every game, but I remember a lot of things.
Though.
Yeah, exactly.
I do remember like running down the field.
Yeah, exactly. I do remember that I had in a 7-game season, I had 28 touchdowns, including 6 touchdowns in one game.
And that we scored all of them.
Yeah, exactly. There was one kid. His name was Ian. Do you remember him?
No.
Okay, so it was me, yourself, and this kid Ian. I don't know if you remember this. Towards the end, they let me call the plays.
Really?
Yes. They let me call the plays.
You have a good memory.
Yes, they let me call the plays, and I would dial my own number up probably like, I'd give myself like 20 carries a game. I'd give Michael like 15 to 20, and this other kid, Ian, I would give him like 2.
Yeah.
And he scored 1 touchdown, but that was the only non-touchdown that you and me didn't score.
Their defense was just terrible.
It was the Giants that fucking sucked. Giants, if you played on the Giants in the Soccer Youth Football League, the Patriots wax that ass every single week, so deserve all that. So, gentlemen, let's talk about our very first meet. We're going to start with Elliot first. I want you to talk about where the meet was, what your numbers were, I guess what weight class too, and then a couple of things that you remember vividly, maybe not vividly, but things that stuck out during the day.
Okay, so my first meet was the 2021 USAPL Ryan Moore New England States High School Championship.
Okay, so a high school meet.
Yep, so that was in Massachusetts. I did not do very well.
You went 9 for 9.
I did 9 for 9, but like as far as like, you know, we just talked about placing on the podium and stuff. Not do very
Yeah, but
well.
it was your first meet.
And I believe you did leave with a medal.
I did leave with a medal. It's kind of like bittersweet because I don't think many people,
Right.
you know, were in direct competition with me.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want me to go for my numbers first? Or like
Yeah,
things
so
that stood
what
out?
was the weight class that you were in for that first meet?
So I was in the 93 kilo.
Okay. The old 93 kilo
the old
class.
93 kilo, but I didn't. That was like my first meet, and I remember you were like, "I don't want you to cut.
Yep.
I don't want anything. Like, just walk in the way you are. It's not really important." I remember we were trying to set the state record for bench,
Right.
or break the record, or
Right.
whatever it was. And I just walked up. I was like 191 on the day,
Mm-hmm.
which the top of that weight class is like what 205.
Yeah, it was 205.
So it was pretty light. And I think my third attempts, I went 9 for 9. I hit a 275 squat.
High bar squat.
High bar squat, yeah,
Yep.
something like that. Bench was 264.
Okay.
I had the state record. And then deadlift was 374.
Deadlift was 374, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I think there was like a lot of, like, quite a few pounds in reserve for maybe, you know,
I think there was
I'd like to say my squat, but probably not, to be honest. Definitely my deadlift, there were pounds in
deadlift. There
reserve.
was, yeah.
Bench, we went all out because we were just trying to set the record.
Right.
but yeah.
What do you remember most on that day?
Just the pressure. I mean, it was really scary my first meet.
Right.
And I know you kept saying you're like, this is gonna be good. It's a high school meet, like it's just kids.
Yeah.
But that made it kind of worse in a way
Yeah.
because I knew that like if I didn't do well amongst the high schoolers, it'd be kind of like, you know, a slap in the face. And then the other thing I remember was just me and you. Like it was our first meet. You picked me up at like 4 a.m.
I didn't pick up at 4 a.m., bro. It was like 5. It was like 5:30.
I don't think it was, bro.
It was not 4 a.m. I
was
can
like 4
promise you
a.m.
on God, it was not 4 a.m. But keep going.
Maybe I woke up at 4 a.m.
Maybe you woke up at 4 a.m.
Anyway, it was dark. It was sick. My parents didn't even know I was doing this meet.
Yeah, you and me drove down.
Yeah,
It was
we
in
just snuck
Shrewsbury.
down. Dude, it felt like a Black Ops mission. It was just emotional, and like that was the first time we ever, like, I guess it was. We didn't really like hang out. But
No.
we kicked it in the car.
Yeah.
We had like conversations and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was emotional,
It was emotional.
and
The warm up area sucked.
the warm up area sucked. It was in the back room of the school, like the weight room of a school. All the bars were like thin and had no knurling
At all. There were some bars that were completely smooth.
Yeah, all the plates probably weren't even like whatever it is, like 16 inches.
Right.
I think I did that competition, and I think was at the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
the
normally-
itself was just like dingy.
Yeah, it was. Normally it's a big meet. It's like it's like a big regional high school meet,
Yeah.
but this was coming off of Corona.
Yeah.
The first wave of Corona. So like things where you didn't have to compete with a mask, remember, because the platform was outside.
Yeah.
The fucking platform was
everything
outside.
was inside, and then just when you decided to take platform, you walk into this little tiny like, what is that? Like it's not a balcony.
It
it's
was
a
like it was
little-
like walking into, like, you know how when you walk into school there's a set of doors, there's that intermediate area,
Yeah.
and then another set of doors, and then the outside, or the opposite rather. It was like the waiting area was like in that intermediate area.
Yeah. It reminds me of like the glass walkway in like a airport terminal. Like when you're getting onto the plane, it was like just like a little brief.
And I remember telling you, I was like, this is not what it's usually like, so don't like expect it to be like this each time.
You're just looking out into nothing.
Like literally, there's a tree.
There's like trees. It was a rainy day too. It was like kind of cold out.
I remember they almost didn't run it outside because it rained that morning, and it was still wet outside, but it dried up in time. So,
Yeah.
Remind us of the total one more time.
Let's see if I can. Total was 909 pounds.
909. So 909.
56.03 good lift points.
Yeah, back when we were doing good lift.
Yeah.
All right.
Not very good.
Hey, well, everyone starts somewhere.
Everyone starts somewhere.
But
But one thing that I will say that I remember too from that meet, this is where the legacy of chasing pavements began.
Yeah.
Because before my last deadlift, I was like, I felt a lot of pressure to go 9 out of 9 for you. And I just had that song, and then I don't know, all the viewers out there, listeners, I don't know if anyone's heard of Studio Ghibli. Must have. You know.
No, I don't.
You don't know?
No.
Swear to God?
Yes.
They're like the most emotional, like, animated movies.
I don't think I do.
Man, I think I speak well, but I don't have any words that could accurately portray this type of, like, thing. So I'm just going to avoid that. I don't want to offend people. Very great movies. Have you heard of, like, Spirited Away or, like,
Yes.
Howl's Moving Castle?
Yes.
It's the same studio that does that. Or,
Okay.
like, My Neighbor.
I just don't really follow, like, I guess the studios that do those stuff. Yeah.
No, it's just, it's just like no big deal. It's just like a well-known studio. It's like amongst the
Neither one of us know, but okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I was listening to the merry-go-round of life.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, I wouldn't say it's like the main theme, but it's like the theme that people like from Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay.
And it's like, I think I played it for you one time, and you were like, what is this, like, orchestral shit? Like,
I remember we played it. I was like, because in Maine we have the Portland Symphony Orchestra. Dude, is this the Portland Symphony Orchestra?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm not into this.
yeah, but I was listening to that and then Chasing Pavements. And obviously, I'm not going to choose that for my third time song. So I was like, all right, like Chasing Pavements.
Yeah,
And then,
exactly.
there's more to it, but that's where the legacy began.
Absolutely. All right, Michael. Your first meet was where?
In Vermont, it was bench only.
So Michael drove out to Vermont to just bench.
Right.
What year was it?
2014.
Okay, so I bet you a lot of the people, well, maybe this is a little bit of a hyperbolic statement, but a lot of the people listening probably didn't know powerlifting was a thing in 2014.
Probably not.
Probably not. So you went out, you went bench only. Talk about, I guess, why you did that, because there was a special circumstance that you wanted to set a record or something, I believe.
Right. So I went out there for bench only because I wanted to, I don't know if I had to do it before going to regionals or if I just wanted practice.
Yep.
But I went out there to practice for regionals so I could set a American record.
Right. Okay.
And at that meet, I wasn't able to because it was a small gym.
Yep.
It was like a CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
And they didn't, Mike Zalinsky was running it.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to get any national judges over there.
Right. Exactly. What did you end up benching on the day?
I did 231 at 58 kilos.
58 kilos. See what roughly that would be.
128-ish.
Times 2.205. 127.8.
Yeah.
And you benched 231.
Yeah, and that was in the 60 kilo class.
60. It was the old 59s.
No, that was the old 60s.
So Michael's been competing so long that he competed when the weight classes. So the weight classes that we have now, people think they're new. They're actually what powerlifting weight classes were way before of it. So he's been through 2 weight class changes.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. What do you remember most on that day?
I guess what I can remember most, it wasn't that day. So the night before, we stayed in a hotel in Vermont.
Yep. Vermont, just for everyone listening, is pretty far away from where we live.
Yeah, it was like 3 hours or something like that.
And that's aggressive for meet number 1.
Yeah,
but
for
regardless.
bench only.
Yeah,
to lift
exactly.
For like 10
That's
minutes.
so funny,
Yeah.
bro.
But so we stayed in a hotel. I believe it was me, my parents, maybe my sister was there too.
Okay.
But either way, I had to share a bed, I think, with like my dad.
Yeah.
And I could not sleep because like I hate sharing a bed with somebody.
Right.
So I slept on the floor. The night before my very first meet. That's what I remember most. The meet itself, I don't really remember a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
I remember like walking in and like that was the first time I actually met like Mike
Yep.
Zalinsky.
Yep.
And I was just like, wow, this guy's huge.
He is huge.
But yeah, I just remember like the whole day, like just doing bench. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I didn't have a whole lot to do. I watched the other guys lift and it was so boring.
Yeah.
And then I went and benched and then I was done.
Right. And you we'll end up talking about it, but you did 2 more bench only meets, correct?
Yeah, 2 more. But in the middle of one of them, I
Did a full power.
Yeah.
Do you remember initially why you only did bench only?
I believe at that time, I don't think it was because of a knee injury at that time.
Right.
But
Don't really know. Just that's where you're training.
I don't think I was really I was that good at squat at that time.
I see.
I mean, everybody starts off just benching.
Yeah.
Besides me, literally.
For whatever, I don't remember the reason why it was bench only, because there's no reason why I couldn't have done all three.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the record would have been even lower.
Right.
I don't think the record was even that high.
Right. I don't know. But yeah, Vermont. Is that besides nationals the furthest you've gone for a meet?
Yeah. I haven't gone any further than Pennsylvania, which is nationals.
Right.
And that's not even that far.
And that wasn't that far. You got, I mean,
actually Texas
for Worlds. Yeah, I guess that is true. All right. So that was your first one. Let's talk about mine. So mine was in 2018. It was in September of 2018. I competed in the old 66 kilo class. It was the main summer classic up in Augusta, where Andrew Graves and I just recently ran the main state championships 2022. So before I even get into it, my first 3 meets were all in the same venue, and they were 3 months apart, 4 months apart. So I did 3 meets in 4 months.
And the first 2 were like, what, 8 weeks?
First 2 were 9 weeks apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I weighed in at 145.2. What I remember, everything that you're not supposed to do. I cut weight for the first one. I didn't rehydrate and whatever. I didn't get my rehydration down like the way I rehydrate up until meet number 4. So it was just hell each time. And I'm not going to get into it. It's a little graphic for the Utopiacast, but you can probably put 2 and 2 together there. I remember a bunch of things here. So I squatted 396.8. Or 180 kilos.
That's really good for your first meet.
It was high bar, ass to grass. Literally, ass was probably about this far away from hitting the floor. I bench pressed 214.9 pounds. And for anyone who goes back on my Instagram and watches, it should not have counted. It was clear double motion. I came up. I was pressing the bar straight up. I went up. It came right back down, and I stayed on it. And by the grace of God, locked it out, and they gave me 3 weights. I wasn't going to complain about it. And then I deadlifted 452, 205 kilos. So I totaled 1,063 in my first meet. And there's a couple things that really stand out to me. Michael was there.
Yeah.
He helped me out. Travis Sanborn, Zach Hurst, Joe Anderson.
We were competing against each other.
That was the second meet.
Oh, it was?
Yes, that was the second. That was the main city showdown.
Okay.
So yeah, the first one you came out, you actually helped me.
Yeah.
Joe was there, Zach
that.
was there, Travis was there. You guys all helped me out. A couple things that really stand out would be just I was so unused to, because I'd done 2 weightlifting meets, Olympic weightlifting meets before that. I was so unused to everyone being so supportive of, because weightlifting, it's like no one talks to each other at all. Right. Like legitimately, like you warm up, you don't speak to anyone besides like whoever's there with you. Like powerlifting, it was like the exact opposite. Everyone just like was like, hey, what are you going for today? And just, shooting the shit and whatever.
Hey, what you eating?
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. And it was just so different to me. The other thing is, God rest his soul, because this kid actually did pass away. Noah Tibbetts.
I remember he was very strong.
He was very strong. He was really young. And like I said, God rest his soul, he did pass away, unfortunately, at a very young age. I don't think he even made it to 19. I don't know if he was misinformed or something like that, but he dumped baby powder all over his legs on the platform. When, for those who've never done a meet, when you use baby powder to assist yourself for deadlifts, you're supposed to go to like a secluded area or just a spot where the meet director has it. You don't do it on the platform because they had all wooden platforms. And I remember I could not get into position at all for deadlifts because the floor was so slippery. So we actually had to roll it up onto the rubber.
Yeah.
And it was all bumper plates back then. There was no kilo plates.
No.
So I had to warm up exclusively on those.
If you would have been sumo, you would have been screwed.
Yeah, I would have been fucked. Thankfully, I wasn't. Still not. So yeah, I benched with my. Another thing is I benched with my hands pretty much touching the smooth. And I
That's
again,
emotional.
yeah, and I hook gripped.
I thought you were talking about deadlift.
Yep, I hook gripped.
Yeah.
And on deadlift, and I squatted high bar ass to grass. Yeah, it was very fun. Let's talk about our second meets.
Well, hold on. I have a question for you.
What's up?
So for me, I did my first meet because pretty much for 2 reasons. We wanted to set the record for me, the bench record.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had urged me to do one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Michael did his first meet because the record too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much. What kind of prompted you to do your first meet, or like what went on in your head? Like, did you have certain numbers you felt comfortable, or just?
I remember there was two things. I remember the first piece was there were no Olympic weightlifting meets in Maine, and there was a strength sport meet that was drug tested in Maine, and I wanted to be a part of it. So that was the first piece, and I think the second one was like I noticed that whatever the squat record was at that time, I was higher than it, and I was like, that'd be cool to have that.
It's funny how all of us had like records.
And it's funny how it's like the exact opposite now.
Yeah.
So it goes to show how our mindsets kind of change. But yeah, and it was cool at the moment. I remember this is so cringy. After the meet, like within a day, I messaged the state chair, which was Mr. Coulter, Mike Coulter at the time, which actually I consider a friend now. And I was like, I set some state records. Like, when are they going to be up? And he's like, give me some time, man. And I was like, at the time, I was like, why aren't they up? But it's so cringy now. But yeah, let's talk about our second meets now. We don't need to go into extreme detail because we got a bunch more that we want to talk about, or that we have more than Elliot. But Elliot, you can still talk in detail because you don't have as many. Your second meet was Maine States, I believe.
Yep, in July.
Yep. So that was pretty much a year, I guess 13 months ago.
Yeah, a year ago.
Okay.
Just about. It was a month after my first meet.
Yep. So
yeah. Let me see where I landed on this one. Again, not too good this time around. My total was 953. Now this time though, I did compete in the weight class lower.
Okay, I was glad that you mentioned that because you dropped actually a considerable amount of weight.
Yeah, because I weighed in at 181, I think.
Yeah, 181 for the old 83 kilo class, and that was within a 4-week span.
Yeah.
And we did that because we actually wanted you to take whatever the bench press record was in that weight class, I believe.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. I kind of don't remember. I feel bad. Yeah, okay, so I squatted 325.
Yep.
I think all my squats, I went 3 for 3 on squats. Oh, this meet, though. Yeah, I had the bench attack.
This Schofield and you benching is just not good.
Not good, yeah.
Two meets now. You've gone.
So this is bad, yeah. So I remember I opened with 248.
Yep.
And then failed it because my butt came off the bench.
That was on the opener.
On the opener,
yeah.
And so that's always awful because if you fail your opener, it's kind of like the judges are just like laser-eyed on what you did.
Exactly.
And up until that point, I didn't have an issue with that.
Yep.
But I think because I dieted down, there was less meat, and I just wasn't used. Like I just wanted to drive it because
you also used to have a very pronounced leg drive style where you throw your hips up.
Yeah, that's that David Lade style.
Right.
Another shout out.
I think this is the 5th time we've shout out David Lade. Okay.
Anyway, so then I took 248 again, my second attempt. I remember that time you were like, bro, just like put your legs farther down. Like, don't do it. Like, I know you have the raw strength. You can Larson press this. Like, just do it. Like, just get white lights.
Because I was freaking out. I was like, is this kid going to bomb out at States?
Yeah.
Christ sakes.
So I got 248 that time. And then I went for 264 to match my record again. And I failed it because the third one, though, listen, no disrespect to the refs.
Which Andrew Graves was one of them.
Was it 3 reds? Do you know? Is there a way to see that?
There is a way to see it, but we'd have to go so far back in order to find that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I remember the first one, he comes off to the side, and I was like, what did I get red lights for? I goes, butt came up, and he's like, really? And I was like, dude, it was bad. He looks at me and goes, it was bad? I was like, dude, you were like this far up.
Yeah, it's bad. Okay, but the 264 one, though, I remember
in the moment, I was like, bro, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure it was 2-1. Yeah. And I thought it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
And you just didn't get the...
And I watched the video, and, like, I felt like my butt didn't come off. Obviously, I felt like my butt didn't come off the first one either, so it's not really valid. I watched the video. How do you
not feel your butt come off the bench? I do.
Right.
I'm excited, like, in the moment.
To be honest with you, I've never had my butt ever come off a bench, because I don't bench that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Show off.
No, not at all.
Like if I'm in the gym, I sometimes do it, and I notice when I do it.
I just legitimately don't bench that way. So it's like it's hard for me to actually. My ass doesn't move at all.
I just benched. Up until that point, I had benched that way like all my career.
Yeah.
And there probably have been like numerous occasions where it's come off, but I'm just so used to it that. What probably happened was like every time I sent you a video, you're like, "Did your butt come off?" I was like, "No," but it probably did, and like I just didn't know, So
we live and we learn, and
it's probably a 50-50 any bench, any given bench.
Right, exactly. And you deadlifted what?
Let's see. Oh, sorry. I deadlifted 380.
380, and you missed your third, right?
Yeah, I missed my third. My third was 402 that time around.
402, and you missed on downward motion, I believe.
Yeah.
So that was what kicked off the deadlift curse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brutal.
But that was your first state championship. You had a really good time. That was me and Andrew's first meet as co-directors.
Yeah.
Michael, you were running the table on that day.
And I wasn't lifting at that time.
Yep, exactly. So it's funny how all these things are kind of interconnected, you know what I mean? But yeah, Elliot, I remember the circumstances that led to that second one. I wanted you to get the high school one in because I know you would never have because you were graduating that year.
Yeah.
I was like, you're never going to get an opportunity to do this again. We might as well do it, get some experience, and then we can really try for this next one. And I think that was cool. I think it was cool doing it that way. Michael, your second meet.
So my second meet was 2014 New England's.
Okay. And is that technically regionals back then?
Yeah, probably. Okay. So this was in Massachusetts. It was in like a hotel, pretty big venue.
Yep.
It was like I think it was like more than one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just like all these like people there, like a bunch of big guys there. Because at the first one there was like nobody.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Elliot, why are you like laughing right now, bro?
I'm just lit.
You're just lit? Okay.
See you drink your squatter.
So I did 226 at this meet, and that was an official American record.
Okay, so it was a little bit less than what you did in the first one, but it was an official record because there's national judges.
Right, and this was actually 4 weeks later.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So there you go. 4 weeks later, and then me 9 weeks later. So there's a theme that we all did our fucking second meet like way earlier than we probably should have. Right. I guess you had a reason because you were just practicing or whatever, and you had a reason. I had no reason at all. Well, I guess I kind of did, but we'll talk about that. No. We'll talk about it because this will be funny for our second one. What else do you remember from that day besides setting the record? Was it a big moment for you, or?
Yeah, I do remember just like the crowd like going crazy.
Right.
And, like, I remember that they didn't have all the national judges on the stage, so they had to come on to the stage for that moment,
that's crazy.
Which was pretty cool.
And that must have been kind of pressurized too, right? Like,
yeah, because I mean, everybody knew I was going for the American record, but like, I also kind of felt like, okay, I'm bench only, and all these other guys
are full
like,
power.
Full power.
Yeah.
And I just kind of again like felt weird, like not doing full power.
Right.
That's kind of why I switched.
Yep. Now, do you remember? You don't still have that record, you know?
No.
Okay. Do you remember when it was broken? How long you held it for?
I held it for a couple years.
Okay.
I think. I don't know about that one because I've only looked at the full power one. Yeah. But I remember the full power one got broken by Steven Gasser. I don't know if you know who he is.
I remember that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I met him at nationals. But he ended up breaking mine. He's a really strong bencher.
Right.
And overall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how long I had that. I never really looked into it.
Right.
I think the record before was like super low, like 200 pounds or something.
I see. Now we're gonna detour this one a little bit because this, I don't know what number this was for you, for the meet that I'm about to talk about, but I want you to speak on this one as well. Yeah. Because this was my second meet, and I don't know, I'm gonna guess it was like your sixth or fifth or something like that.
Yeah.
So the second meet that I did was 9 weeks after my first one. It was the Queen City Throwdown, again at the same facility, Undaunted Powerhouse up in Augusta. So I showed up. I already knew the lay of the land, like we talked about, and I was ready to go. I just competed fucking literally 2 months before that, so it's not like I was anything was rusty or whatnot. Me and Michael both did this meet.
Yeah, that was actually my seventh.
That was your seventh meet, and we were training together at this point. We were training together up till the first one, but then when we saw the registration was up for this one, which I'm not quite sure why they ran a meet 9 weeks later from, that was like awful planning on their part.
I have no idea.
But there's two things that stand out to me. One is, I don't know if you remember this, the meet almost didn't happen because there was not enough people who signed up.
Yeah, we were questioning whether we were actually going to be able to do it.
Because we signed up and they sent out an email like 2 weeks out saying like, we fear that we're not going to be able to run this because there wasn't enough people signed up. Again, their own fault because they fucking ran a meet 9 weeks after. Right. But it actually ended up happening. There a bunch of people. There was a decent amount of people. It was like 35 or something like that. Right. I went 358, 380, 396. So I squatted the same exact amount. Still high bar, still ATG. My bench went up 15 pounds. So I benched 231. and I deadlifted 463 for 1,091 total. So now this was me and Michael's first meet together. Michael weighed in less than me and out-totaled me by 50 pounds.
Okay, that's only because of my bench.
You benched something. Your bench was pretty incredible that day. It was 286, I believe, right?
It was, yeah. That was a PR.
Yep, 286. 286, and he weighed in at like 130. No, watch it. Yeah, I think it was 138.
Oh, jeez.
If you go on your OpenPowerlifting, look, 138. I remember John Lavoie was at this meet. John placed first overall. Michael placed second overall, and I placed third overall. So there's a picture somewhere of all three of us on that podium. I'd be curious to find that again.
It's on my Instagram, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It was on both of ours probably, but that was a really fun meet.
That's really good for your second meet to be getting third overall.
It showed me at least that it validated the switch over, because still at that point I was like, am I going to stay with powerlifting? Am I going to go back to weightlifting? Fuck weightlifting. I'm never going back to that.
Wow.
Yo, seriously. I mean, I've been pretty open and vocal about that. Weightlifting sucks. If I were to ever go into any other strength sport, it'd be bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You've always said that too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Actually, it would be bodybuilding. It would be a tie between bodybuilding and CrossFit.
I would not do CrossFit.
I can't believe you choose CrossFit over weightlifting.
Easily.
I would choose CrossFit over weightlifting.
CrossFit, legitimately, and we were just talking about this before you got here, is the most lucrative strength sport out of all of them. CrossFit gives out so much money, and like you can sustain a career being a CrossFit athlete. Really? You can't do that as a bodybuilder, naturally at least. You can't do it you might be able to do it as an Olympic weightlifter, actually. So I will say that, but it is very hard to do. You cannot do it as a powerlifter. Powerlifters at like the bare bottom with like Highland Games and what's the other one? Arm wrestling and stuff like that. But yeah,
I think it's so weird that powerlifting is like you can't make any money from it. It's so crazy.
Not like it's getting better now, but like even up until last year, you were losing money doing powerlifting meets.
Right.
I mean, we all do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You didn't. Your last two meets. You made money.
That's so euphoric.
Which is pretty sick. He made a ton of money this last one.
In total, I think I'm close to $1,000.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. This is why you keep it. Hey, anyone listening, come out and do USAPL main meets. All right.
9 meets later, and I finally make money.
You finally make money. But yeah, that meet was it was fun. It was they used a Titex power bar, and I always hated that bar. I don't know. It was weird, I guess, competing against Michael.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it at all. And
we've said that we won't compete against each other unless it's the nationals.
Right, exactly. So anytime that we would plan out meets from like there on out, it was like if he was going to do one, he was going to do it. If I was going to do it, I was going to do it. We were never going to do that again. It just was a really like not weird feeling, but just like a uneasy feeling.
Right,
you know
and
what
I don't
mean?
want to compete against you. Like you're my friend, and like we train together and everything. Like we know what each other's going to do on meet day, and I don't want that to like push each other to like not do well or something. Yeah,
exactly. And there's other stakes where you can push it. You know what I mean? At a local meet with like 30-some people, it just wasn't worth it.
That's interesting that you guys say that though, because this most recent meet that I did, I guess technically I was competing against Logan.
Yeah.
And we lift with each other all the time, and we're like friends.
Yeah.
You know? I didn't
little
think
bit
about that at all.
A little bit. Yeah, I guess it is pretty true, because I was gonna say it might be different. But you guys are in the same weight class.
Same weight class.
I guess it's different though, because you guys are very different ages.
Yeah. Whereas
me and Michael are like pretty close to similar in age, and we were training together, I guess, and our numbers at that point were roughly the same. Whereas you and Logan are like at different points in terms of where your strengths are currently at.
Yeah.
We were in the same division, like maybe not the same division. I think you were older, but
we were both juniors. We were both juniors.
That was the day before or was it on my birthday or after?
Were you 20?
Let me see. It was.
Yes, I do remember your birthday was around one of those.
It was the day after my birthday, so I just turned
20.
Yeah, I just.
Right, so we were both juniors.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess enough on that. Elliot, your third meet.
My third meet? Oh boy. Wait, I had a question for you though.
Yeah, what's up?
Before we move on. So you said from your first meet to your second meet, what I noticed was that your squat stayed the same.
Yeah.
Did you how was that? Like, did you plan to go higher, or did you plan like less? Or
of course.
How did that feel?
So I planned. So I remember I said I squatted high bar ATG.
Yeah.
So I was training at Saco Sport mainly, and then one thing I failed to mention is I went back to college. It was my sophomore year of college in my first meet. I moved in the weekend before. The weekend after was the competition. So I went to college in Springfield, Massachusetts, which is 3 hours away. So I drove 3 hours to go to school, went to school all that week, drove the 3 hours back, did the meet, and drove the 3 hours back to school. Did that same thing 9 weeks later. So what happened is if you see my weigh-ins, I lost 2 pounds.
Yeah.
So that affected things. And then the other aspect, doing 2 water cuts in 9 weeks probably didn't help me. And then the last piece was squatting high bar ATG. I had these whippy bars with bumper plates. And since I had a weightlifting background, I used to crash to the bottom and try to ricochet myself up. I guess I didn't learn my lesson from the first meet where I almost got stapled with 396 to plan for something lighter. So both attempts were literally RP 10.
Yeah.
I wanted more, and then the third meet that I'll get into, I did attempt more and I didn't get it. But it took a while for me to learn that lesson.
It's just interesting because like the Erik I know would be like very calm, like calculative, like yep, okay, 396 the next one too, like this is what we have to do to get like to secure like the 10 pounds on our deadlift or something, and just thinking about the old Erik, just like I want more. See and this is seriously
that's
though
how everybody is.
No, but seriously though, I think this is cool because like I've done this and now I can prevent other people from doing it that way, and people don't like, you get it now, but like even like when we first started, like maybe probably a little bit of hesitation, but like some other people, they're like totally check out to the process. I'm like, okay, man, if you want to be humbled, go ahead and do it, but I can prevent you from this and it'll be so much better.
Yeah.
Your third meet, Elliot, where was that at?
Okay, third meet was at the same Schofield place.
Okay, we're at Schofield again.
2022 USAPL main event, the Winter Open.
I did that with you.
All right, so we can do this again. So you can talk about this as well with him. What do you guys remember of that? Because, Michael, that was your first meet back in 4 years? 3 years.
18 to 22.
Yeah, 18, 20, so 4 years.
4 years.
So first meet back in 4 years, and it was your third. How much of a gap was there between your second and third?
This one... Okay, let's see. My second was in July, and this one was in January, right?
Yep.
So, what is that?
July.
It's like 6 months, I think, because it...
Roughly.
5 months, because it was in the beginning of...
True. It was literally the first weekend of July.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, January.
Yeah. What stood out?
Yeah, so what stood out on that day?
I think what stood out most was first off, my bench went up.
I remember that was the whole theme of that prep was bench redemption.
Yeah.
And what did you end up benching on that day?
286 for my third attempt.
Yep, 286.
3 for 3.
Yep.
Kind of emotional. I remember Erik posted me on his story for like the first time.
Right.
Shout out Erik. That was emotional.
Yep. What did you end up squatting and deadlifting that day?
Squat, I hit 374.
Okay. That was a huge PR at the time, I remember.
Huge PR, yeah. Up until that, well, at that meet, I had hit like a 25-pound, or the first one was 50 from 275 to 325, but then after that, like I hit the 25-pound increments.
Right.
And then deadlift, I hit 402.
And then what did you miss on the third?
I missed 420. What is it, 424?
I was 424.
My third attempt. I got it, but then once again, downward motion at the top because I like lost balance.
Yep.
That used to be such a big issue for me.
Yeah, the balance issue. Sorted it out. It doesn't really happen much since then.
No, just when I pulled on the deadlift bar the other day.
Yeah. Well, we might end with that.
Yeah. No, but that was a great meet. I think
that was a really fun meet. Josh Dang was there.
I was just gonna say that too. That was really fun. Like
that was his meet for sure.
That was
Michael won overall, but like the moment I guess was Josh's.
That was really
when
cool.
Josh had his like last pull, was it? And then he like qualified for nationals.
Yeah.
And everyone was yelling. That was such a cool moment.
Absolutely.
Same thing for you.
It was like we were reliving the same moment twice. It was crazy.
Yeah, same place.
Yeah, same place,
really
like
cool.
same, not like the same meet, but the same circumstances. You know what I mean?
Nationals.
Yeah. And then that was also the meet. Like after that, that was
both
when I
my
told
lifters.
Josh.
Yeah.
That was when I told Josh. I was like, Josh, squatting 400 next time.
Right.
He doesn't even remember this. This is so funny.
He probably doesn't. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say you could probably tell him, like, oh yeah, I remember that Josh being the way he is, but he definitely doesn't.
He doesn't. But, no, it's still cool. I just remember, this was probably my best meet because I think I went, 8 for 9.
In terms of like putting everything together for the prep, I would say that was your best execution meet.
Yeah.
Obviously your first meet went 9 for 9, but we held you back quite a lot.
Oh my. Sorry, continue.
No, you continue.
Just another thing that stood out for me is I remember like the 4 or 5 days prior to this meet, everyone I knew got COVID. Like literally everyone I knew got COVID.
Yep.
Grace's parents got COVID. I have a person living in my house. He got COVID. I think my dad got COVID. Like, a bunch of people. Grace's dad got COVID. So many people got it, and I was just like in my room for like the 3 days leading up to the meet. I swear I didn't leave my room. I didn't leave my room. I was drinking only Fairlifes and like Gatorades and Rice Krispie treats because that was all I had in my room. And I was playing Fortnite. Like I picked up Fortnite again because I had nothing to do. And I was just like, oh my God, this meat is going to suck.
Also, I remember there's two pieces to this. You, Michael, and Josh were all warming up together on the same combo rack because you guys were all on the same flight. Yeah. There's two things. One, I remember by the time we got up to deadlifts, like these guys didn't tell me. Elliot came over and he's like, dude, we messed up our squat warm up so bad. Elliot was gonna take like 308 accidentally for a warm up, and it was supposed to be like 240 something or whatever. And
then the time Josh was the only one who knew kilos.
Yes, exactly.
We were all like idiots.
And him and Josh were warming up way too fast and stuff like that. He's like, dude, we messed up so bad.
Yeah.
And of course I didn't know anything about this. And then the other piece was Michael's dad, Steve. Yeah. he looks so over to Michael's dad and he's like, yo, am I hitting depth? And he goes, not really.
That was so bad.
And he was at his like second to last one.
Because if you know Steve, it's like, I don't know how to really describe it. He's like always super nice.
Yeah.
So when he said it, wasn't like bad for the fact that it was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
No. He was nice about it. He was like, no, not really. I was just like, it was just the most like.
He just didn't want to.
I was just like, God.
But then we've come full circle because you reacted that way, but like the last one that we just had, you reacted like bet, and you just kept thinking it.
Dude, that was such a cool moment.
Michael, this was your comeback meet.
This was, yeah.
You ended up winning first overall for this one.
Yeah, and I like was not expecting to do that at all.
So this was your 8th meet overall.
That was my 8th, yeah.
So we've actually talked about this before on the pod, but just briefly, you squatted, I believe it was 419?
Yeah, 419. I benched 275. I missed 286.
Right. You had a lot of elbow pain leading into that one.
Oh, yeah, it was terrible. And luckily, I didn't have anything going into this one.
Right. We learned our lesson around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I deadlifted 474.
Yeah.
Which was like a 10-pound PR.
Right.
And squat was a, 15-pound PR?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then you totaled 1174, obviously, which was a PR for you. But it was just big to get you back. That was the big theme of that one.
That was huge.
Was to have you back.
Yeah.
And like we talked about, it was Michael like won overall like quite easily. We actually it was, but I guess if you looked at the dots or whatever, but we had a different division set up that time, so it was like heavyweights and then lightweights.
Yeah.
And
I didn't win overall, did I?
Okay, so you won the best overall for lightweight
division.
Yeah, exactly. But like we talked about, like having you back, that was huge. That was like Josh Dang stole the moment because like he was qualifying for nationals and stuff like that. But it was huge for you because it had been 4 years.
Yeah.
And it was right down the road from where you live. Yeah. And, we never thought that he would be back. And he came back and he killed it.
And literally, like, at Elliot's second meet,
yeah,
I was there helping.
Fucking doing the table.
Yeah.
I mean, you were in there helping at the main states. So you still do that stuff. But just the fact that you're actually back in the game now is huge. And what was, I guess, do you remember what exactly drove you to actually doing the meet? Because I remember we tried to get you to do meets before and you just wouldn't do it.
So I think we decided in beginning of August. I remember I was on vacation and I texted you. I forget what I was looking at. If I was looking at, was it records or it was going to nationals.
Yes.
I wanted to go to nationals in the 59 kilos.
We were thinking about dropping down to 59 again.
I was sitting right around like 138, 139. I was like, I think I can do it.
Right.
But it wasn't working out.
No.
So as soon as I started working out, I'm trying to like cut weight and it's not going down. I was cutting all the way until like end of September, beginning of October.
Right.
And we decided like, no, this is not happening.
No, exactly.
So I started eating more. But yeah, it was just so I could try and go to nationals again. Because I was like, there's no way I can go in the next weight class.
Which was 66, right?
66. Yep. And I mean, now I did qualify.
Right.
Which is crazy. Like, I did not think it was possible. Because at the time when I started in August, I was literally squatting 250 pounds.
Yep, I remember it very vividly. And you squatted 440 at this most recent meet.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, it goes to show, man. If you stick with it, good things happen.
A lot of things can change.
No one wants to listen to me when I say that stuff, but it's true, and I've seen it plenty of times. All right, so let me talk about my third meet, which was again in the same facility. So this was the end of so I guess technically speaking, I did 3 meets in 5 months. I did 4 meets in 9 months. And I didn't do my 5th one until a year later, but the 3rd one was my first main state championships. in 2019. Andrew Graves did this one as well.
I was spotting and loading.
You spotted and loaded this meet.
I think that was the beginning of my break.
Right. Yes, it was. This was the first lift. So those first 2 meets that I did, I went 9 for 9. This is the first time I ever missed a lift in a meet. So I went 363, 385, 407, or 408 rather. Missed it. This was my first meet ever squatting low bar. I still squatted ATG. I had my rack height set way too high. I was like tiptoeing it out of the platform. I didn't know at the time that you could drop it down. Really? Nope. So I was like shrugging it on the way up, something that I'm a big pet peeve about to this day. And this goes to show, like, having your attempts. If I would have attempted, because I remember the record, or this is again framing things about records, whatever, not taking what's there in the day. The record was 402. I wanted to.
Was mine.
Right, it was yours. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to take it. And I tried to go for it and missed it. I would have had 4. It was the highest sticking point I've ever had ever. I came out of the hole because I squatted with that rapid descent. I flew up out of the hole, and I probably had about this much to go and just could not lock it out. Missed that. I benched 242. So as you can see, I put 30 pounds on my bench within 5-ish months. So that was pretty good. And then I deadlifted 474. So that was my first total over 1,100 pounds. That was my first Wilks dots over 400. So that was pretty big.
You got the deadlift record then too, I think.
Yep, the deadlift. I did get that. And then I placed first overall for the juniors at this meet. So that was pretty cool for me. What I remember most about that meet was I weighed in super, super light. I weighed in at 141. And I remember waking up in the morning and I was like 139.9. And I was like, Jesus, what the fuck did I do?
You never do that.
I never do that. And I started my cut. I was way lighter to start off the water cut. So that's what happened. And this is back when, again, we talked about this last meet, cutting to make a dots or a Wilks or whatever just never works out for you. You might as well weigh in heavier and total more. I wanted to get the extra boost to, possibly win the meet, and I ended up missing my third squat, and I probably would have had it if I, didn't weigh in as light as I did, and I didn't know how to rehydrate at that time, so that was a bad aspect there. But yeah, just in general, I remember I was like, okay, I've done enough meets at this facility. I need to expand my horizons a little bit. I need to get outside my comfort zone, because at that point I was just doing those meets because I was comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a pussy move, It was more so I know I can do well here, so I'm going to do it. But that was my first States, and I thought States was a lot different, and it really wasn't. It was just
States it's just kind of like a local meet,
right? Now, what me and Andrew do now, it's a little bit different.
It is a bigger deal.
We give out a little bit more. We give out the banners and whatnot, so it is more of a big deal. But back then, not so much. Fourth meet we just talked about for you, so we don't necessarily need to get into detail with that. We kind of jumped around with you. What was your fourth? Go through your fourth, fifth.
So the one after the one that I just talked about, which was bench only, I tore my meniscus.
Okay.
So I was doing just bench for a while, but I didn't compete until October 2015.
Yep.
Oh no, that was. Okay, never mind. I was at Nationals.
Okay.
I did a meet before Nationals to qualify for Nationals.
Okay. That was your first full power.
That was my first full power coming off of a knee injury.
And where was that one at?
That was somewhere in Maine. I don't remember where.
Okay.
This meet doesn't really stand out to me. It wasn't really anything special.
It was literally just show up to the qualifying total. Yeah.
I think I placed third overall for the juniors.
Okay.
Or not juniors. I was a teen. Teen 2 or whatever. I probably did an unofficial American record again.
Right. Now you were still 59?
Yeah, I was 59.
Okay.
Didn't really have to cut weight a whole lot for that.
Of course.
But the next one was Raw Nationals, which was pretty big for me.
Of course. So your fourth meet was Nationals.
Yeah.
And that was in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
It was.
Home of Dunder Mifflin, the office.
It's emotional, bro.
We drove 8 hours there.
You guys drove? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It was a long drive. I remember just it was just crazy there. There was vendors selling Titan was there, and I don't know if SBD was a thing at that time.
Right.
But yeah, the warm up room was just I had never seen something like it.
Jam packed. Yeah.
Yeah. It was all kilos everywhere. I don't think I had warmed up on kilos before.
Ever.
That.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember going into that meet. I just was I was not gonna win.
Right.
I knew I was not gonna win. And I was driving to the meet knowing I'm not going to win, looking for, what is that? other federation.
USPA?
NAPF.
Oh, the old NAPF.
Yeah. I was looking at that because I was close to breaking a world record.
Yep.
For bench. I was like 10 pounds off or something at the time.
Right.
So the goal was to win nationals and go to worlds.
Right.
And break a world record. But I was like, I can't win nationals, so I got to go to
NAPF. Right. Yeah.
So
weird problems to have, right?
No, bro.
So I squatted 286.
Okay.
I benched 242 for an American record.
242 American record.
And I deadlifted 369 and missed 385.
Now you won.
I did.
Yeah, you did win.
11 pounds.
By 11 pounds. And what is funny is you mentioned this before we started recording. What exactly happened with the person you were competing against? You said there was a scenario where he not very easily, but he could have won,
right.
But he put in the wrong attempt.
Right. So I was looking back at it today. I was ahead by a little bit.
Because he was a stronger squatter, you were a stronger bencher.
Right.
Yep.
He benched like 180 pounds or something, and
right.
He squatted like 340.
Right.
But we both deadlifted 369, and I was ahead by 11 pounds.
Right.
And he went for 402, and I went for 385, so I was going before him.
Right.
And he very easily could have just like dropped his weight by a little bit and just beat me by like a couple pounds.
Right.
And he didn't.
He could have took the minimum amount to chip and win.
Yeah.
But he took, I think what you said was like 5 kilos more.
Right.
Or something like
15
that.
pounds more than what I took.
15 pounds. That's 7.5 kilos more.
Yeah.
And also lost.
Right.
But you guys were kids, and you said he was there with his dad, so it's like
So is that the rule where you can like give a fake deadlift attempt?
Yeah, you absolutely can do that.
So I feel like not many people know that that's a thing though.
Yeah, because unfortunately, like not many people get to the level where that actually matters.
Right. And
like,
we were kids.
Yeah, you were kids,
Yeah,
and then also like I guess it mattered though because for a world spot.
Yeah.
But like when if we were to do this at like the local meet that we just did, like put in a fucking fake deadlift attempt so it looks like you're
like this kid showed up in a suit and he's putting in a fake deadlift.
Yeah, exactly. We put in that you're attempting like 240, you're attempting like 529 for your third or something like that, and everyone's like, dude, what? Are you taking like a huge jump? It just wouldn't be worth it. But yeah, you're right. It is a thing, and not many people know about it.
It's also scary, like probably like going up to the national refs as like just a little kid, and you're just like, can I change
yeah, exactly. Like, can I bring that down?
At the time, I honestly didn't even know that was like a fake attempt was a thing.
Exactly.
But he could have changed it after I missed mine, or I don't know.
And that happens all the time at like regular nationals. People will put in an attempt that is really high, so they're the second person to go. Right. They'll wait to see if that person makes or misses, and then they'll adjust their attempt and change their second attempt or their third attempt rather to do that. So that's a thing. Yeah. So you won nationals, and then you're in your fourth meet.
And I did, yeah. So I remember the way I won is because he missed his deadlift.
Right.
If he would have got it, he would have won. So I'm standing there watching him attempt this deadlift.
How close was he?
He didn't even get it off the floor.
Oh, okay.
I mean, and you never want to see somebody fail.
Yeah, you never want to win that way.
But it was a tough meet. Like, I still won by 11 pounds.
Right.
Pretty close.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was pretty excited in the moment.
Yeah, of course. And that secured what would have been your first world team.
Right. But, yeah.
Which unfortunately you didn't get to go to because of the knee thing, right?
He got to go.
And he went.
Yeah, we kind of like ended up getting like kind of close. We would communicate. When I got hurt, I messaged him and I told him like he'd be able to go to Worlds now because I got hurt.
Yeah.
He felt bad and
right,
stuff.
Of course. And for anyone listening who is familiar, this is Henry Deers. Do you pronounce it? Deers. Who went to Midland University. So I years later ended up competing against him, and he was a fantastic 66 kilo lifter. Yeah. Very good collegiate lifter. Not quite sure if he still competes. I haven't seen him since 2021 at collegiate nationals, but really good kid. Seemed like he
was a nice kid when I met him. I mean, this was like a while ago. But he was nice then.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's again funny how all of these things are interconnected. All right, let me talk about my fourth meet because this is easily one of the worst experiences I've ever had at a powerlifting meet ever. Oh boy. Andrew Graves was here. So this was my first meet outside the state of Maine. This was the Monadnock Summer Slam in Peterborough, New Hampshire. So Elliot, you did the meet in the high school where the warm-up room was awful. Yeah. Whatever you're thinking is awful, like multiply that times 100, and that was this warm-up room. There weren't enough squat racks. So I've said this story to you guys, so it's going to be old news to you guys, but there were not enough squat racks for everyone to warm up on, that people were taking their squat warm-ups out of the incline bench. Yeah. So they had their like head resting on the incline bench pad, taking it out like this and taking like 18 steps back to do their squat warm-ups. I was like, this is like, you know, we talk about utopia. This is like dystopia. It's like, this is like everything that could possibly be wrong at a powerlifting meet. It was that. Like I said, Andrew Graves came out. I don't remember the exact circumstances. Either he was graduating the day after, or it was sometime around that. He was rocked. He showed up hungover, but he helped me really well. But he was just struggling to get there. Dave Kaler was there. I remember I asked Andrew to get me some salt packets because I forgot to bring, because after my Pedialyte I didn't have any. This is again, I didn't know how to fucking rehydrate, and I was cutting all this weight. I had him bring me some salt packets, and Dave showed up with pepper packets. He goes, you can't have salt without the pepper. And I was like, I barely knew Dave at this point. I was like, thank you. I started warming up on the worst bar ever, and again, full circle. The squat that I missed, 408, came out, made it. That was a huge PR for me at the time. It was the first squat I ever hit over 400 pounds. So it was pretty huge there. Then I went for, on bench. I remember this is when I was like just reaching like the apex of what I thought I could bench, like, not naturally, but like what my limitations would be with the grip that I had. 259. So again, more bench progress. And this was the first time I guess I kind of I let a send it mentality kind of get into it. Andrew, who does a phenomenal job now, unfortunately talked me into a bad attempt. I went 463, 485, and the 485 was like, I was still pulling hook grip at this time. But again, you know, I was lighter, and I pulled 490 10 days out. I should have gone 491 because that was what was there. It was a 2.5 kilo, because it really, maybe 496. But Andrew's like, bro, like, look, like we're here, we might as well go for it. Like, go for 500 or whatever. And I was like, and like me being me, I was like, you know what, put it on the fucking bar. Like, I can do this.
Why would you do 500?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I was like, you put fucking 500. I'm gonna give my all on this or whatever. I got it to the knee. My back has never been so rounded on a deadlift before. I had a very different deadlift style back then as well. My back was so rounded, and I tried like hell just to get. It was the first time ever it felt quite literally like the bar was like being actively pulled down towards the ground while I was trying to pull it up. I'd never felt that before. I never missed a deadlift before in my life. I didn't get it. I totaled 1151, so that was a 50-pound total PR. Pretty huge for me at the time. I didn't compete again until a full year after that. I didn't compete again until the main state championships in 2020. This was because of Corona, mainly. So I was going to do collegiate nationals during that time, but that kind of got postponed and whatever. And main states was supposed to be around at that time. That got postponed. So we were waiting. I was training outside at this time because all the gyms were shut down.
I remember that.
Yep, I was training outside, dragging all my plates out, and eventually this is when USABL was starting to allow lifters to come back and wear masks. So I did that fifth meet out in Waterville. That was my best meet to that time. That was the most progress I made from like one point to another. I put 91 pounds on my total within that year's time span.
It's crazy what a good rest in between a meet will do.
Yeah, I went, exactly, not 4 weeks or 9 weeks or whatever. I squatted 452, so 452 versus the 408 that I squatted the year before. I benched 270 as opposed to the 259. And then this was the first time I ever missed a second attempt. I opened up at 491 on deadlift. I was pulling on all bumpers, so this is probably what was kind of fucking with me there. I went 518 for my second, missed it outright. Like I almost thought it was on strength because I came to the knee, I lost it forward. It was the first time that had ever happened to me. I was pretty embarrassed. There was no people at this meet at all because this was during Corona time, so it was literally just lifters and judges. So there was no hype at all. It was literally, the live stream was this computer that you're seeing right now. It was this turned around. The fucking keyboard was in the frame that you could see. And then I came back in 518, just hung on for it, and it was like the RP12, and I got it, and it was really lit. That was the first time I ever won best overall lifter. So I won first overall. Andrew Graves was there as well. Andrew, that was not his best meet, although he did do, good, relatively speaking. He did not have a good time that day. What was your fifth one, Michael?
After
Yeah, what happened after nationals?
So after nationals, I had gotten hurt. I tore my meniscus. No, that was my ACL.
Yeah.
I tore my ACL skiing. So my second knee injury. And
skiing.
Yeah. Sometime in, I believe it was October, I got an email from, what do you call it, like the national committee?
Yeah, like the national team, the head coaches.
Yeah, the national team. Yep. Asking if I wanted to do Worlds. And at the time I was lifting, but I wasn't like taking it super serious. Like, I have my stents where like I take it serious and then like I kind of just go to the gym. And I was kind of just like working out. I think I started doing legs because I was healed from
the knee injury.
My knee injury.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, my body weight was like 140 and I had to go at 130.
You had just committed to moving up to the next weight class before that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was weighing, 140.
Okay.
And I had to go at 59 kilos. So
which is, 130. I think wasn't it 129? No, it was 130. You're right. It was 130. Yeah.
Actually, before Worlds, I had a full power meet.
Right. It was that Ryan Moore, right?
Right, yeah.
And you moved up to 66.
Yeah, well, I just weighed in whatever I was.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think I weighed in at like 140.
Right.
That was a month out from Worlds, actually.
Just fucking meet a month out from Worlds.
All right, so I'll talk about that one first.
We're going to pause real quick. We're going to have... Yeah, you could have done it at any time before. Pause. Pause. All right, so we're back. We're talking about the Ryan Moore.
Yep.
What about that one? That was a pretty big high school meet at the time.
Yeah, so the way that actually happened was I got randomly drug tested because I was on the lifting pool for drug tests.
Right, because you had already set an American record and whatnot.
Right.
And won in nationals.
Right, I was on that pool because of Worlds, not because of any records.
Yep.
So Mike Salinsky called me up to drug test me. I met him at Dunkin' Donuts.
That's so cool. We should talk about that really quick.
I think we already did.
We already did, actually, on the pod, yeah.
That's just so cool.
Yeah.
If that happened to me, I would not shut up about that.
You were still in high school.
I was in high school.
Yeah.
So he showed up to Thornton Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not drop that. I'd be like, yo, remember that time I got like drug tested at school?
Yeah.
So sick.
So when I was getting drug tested, he was telling me about the Ryan Moore meet that was happening in a couple weeks, whenever it was.
It was legitimately a big deal. I remember back in the day that Ryan Moore meet was.
I didn't know it was a big deal. I just was like, I was worried about Worlds, and he was like, hey, you should go to this meet. Like, it's a pretty big meet. Like, it would be cool for you to do. And I was like, it's a month out from Worlds. Like,
right.
I shouldn't be doing that. He's like, no, you'll be fine. And I was like, I mean, I'm not really doing a whole lot of legs right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to lose some weight. And he was like, you'll win anyway. It's okay. So I went to the meet. I surprisingly did pretty well.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot of fun. So I was going to try and cut to 59.
Yep.
It was just not working. So I was like, whatever, I'm just going to eat up to the meet.
Yeah.
I weighed in right around like 141 or something.
Right.
I totaled 1,058.
Okay.
Which is almost 200 pounds up from my first full power.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a month out from Worlds.
Yep.
It was pretty fun.
And I guess it is pretty important to. This was Bench Worlds.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So I went from a full powerlifting meet a month out to bench only.
Bench only, a weight class down.
Yeah. 10 pounds or whatever I was. Actually, I weighed in at 126.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ Almighty, man.
Stop hitting legs to make weight.
Stop hitting legs to make weight. Weighs in 4 pounds light.
I was running, I'd go running on the beach in Pine Point. It was like...
Going running for powerlifting meet.
It was terrible. I hated it. I'll never do that again.
We're going to have Elliot do that cut for the next one. I'm like, Elliot, go to Pine Point and go for a run. That's what we're going to do for our cut.
Enough of this great squat and deadlift and not making your bench. Like,
we're going to make exactly. We're going to make the bench and fuck the squat and deadlift. Go running. Anyway.
You want me to talk about Worlds? Or
talk about Worlds.
Okay, so...
Because this was probably legitimately the pinnacle of your powerlifting career.
Right, this was like...
So far.
Yeah, this was the peak, just right up right before I took the break.
Yep.
So
Were you still in high school?
Yeah, okay. I was about to graduate.
Okay.
So
It's really cool.
Yeah, I used to do lacrosse. I used to play lacrosse in high school. I decided not to play lacrosse because of Worlds.
Yep.
So
good decision, because you've already gotten hurt
and that
twice.
Was part of the reason why I was almost hesitant about going to Worlds. So in the beginning, I like had to think about it, and then I was like, you know what, I should go. Like, I'm never gonna get this opportunity.
And thank God, you know, just a regular fucking lacrosse season versus world championships. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably
so
sounded. But anyway.
I thought, it was cool going to Worlds and everything, but I wish that I was able to go in 2015 when it was. Actually, it would have been 16.
Right.
Because it was only bench only.
Yeah. Like, and you would have been doing full power in the other one. Yeah.
And that would have been awesome. But Worlds was a really cool like experience. Like, I wasn't going there to win or like do anything crazy. I guess I was kind of going to set another American record, but that was like a little bit of a stretch.
And that was one of the first, or not first, one of the only Worlds that was in America.
I think so, yeah. It was like, I was kind of disappointed it wasn't somewhere else. Cause people ask, oh, where was Worlds? I'm like,
fucking Texas.
Texas.
Yeah.
Like, oh, so was it just people in America? No.
Yeah, then you have to explain it. Yeah. It's like,
So, yeah, it was pretty cool to like be invited and everything.
Represent the United States.
Right.
You got the Team USA jacket that you still have to this day.
They gave us quite a bit of stuff. Like, I got a singlet, a Team USA singlet, 2 sets of wrist wraps, the Team USA jacket.
Right.
Which like kind of just like hung up and I kind of like retired that singlet. Like, I wore it one other time, but I think I should just like keep it hung up.
Right. Let it be.
Well, yeah. That is emotional.
That is pretty emotional.
But yeah, it was cool. Just like you see all these like light guys benching like 400 pounds. And I remember this guy from Sweden. He benched like 420 pounds.
Yeah.
And he was like in the 66 kilo.
That's crazy.
It was stupid. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I liked it.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad I went.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, like we were talking about, it would have been a shame if you just... Can you imagine, like, trying to, like, explain that to people? It's like, yeah, I made a world championships, but I decided to play lacrosse instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The only thing that really sucked was cutting weight. Like, yeah, I was eating a ton leading up to it.
Right.
Like, I think the heaviest I got to was like 144.
144 and weight ended at 126. Holy shit, dude.
It's terrible.
And that's huge. Like we talk about, when you're smaller, that's a huge percentage of your body weight that you cut right there.
I think I did a water cut. I think I started my water cut around like 138.
Right.
Or something. I flew into Worlds and I was like 136. And then like, which was like 6 days out.
And you mentioned you did some ketogenic stuff too, right?
Yeah, because I mean, at the time I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I guess it wasn't the end of the world because I was only doing bench.
Exactly.
But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go run. I'm going to do keto. I'm going to do anything I can. Right. Because if I don't make weight, I can't lift.
No, that's true, though. That is really true. When you go to those world meets and even national meets, you can lift as a guest at a national meet if you miss weight. Yeah. You can still lift. But if you go to worlds and you miss weight, you can't fucking lift. And that would be a waste of a trip, and that would be irresponsible. So you did what you had to do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. That is very true.
And something that was also pretty cool was... I mean, I guess it kind of sucked. Like, my dad didn't get to handle me.
Yeah.
But we got, like, national handlers.
Yeah.
So, like, it was pretty cool to, like, have, like, this, like, national...
Yeah, national level handling. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I'll fly through these next two, or these next three here, rather, because these were all, relatively close. So, in 2021, I did my first nationals. So, this was collegiate and junior nationals down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So, obviously, this was the furthest that I've ever gone for a meet. Me and Michael, because Michael was the only person at that time that I knew personally that did a national meet. We're kind of like bouncing back and forth and, what to expect and stuff like that. And, all the ins and outs or whatever. I felt like I was prepared. I prepared as good as I possibly could have. Corona was still kind of going on at that time. The gyms had just started opening back up. I was still training here. This was when I was actually training in my bedroom. So I prepped for a fucking national meet in my bedroom.
That's so crazy. I could not imagine doing that.
And you guys, Elliot, you've seen my room.
It's small.
It is very small. And I had a power rack in there. I had kilo plates in there. And I don't know. I just made it work. And or maybe I didn't, because we'll get it.
So much dedication to like force yourself to do that every day in your bedroom?
I mean, I will admit, yes, it does. Yeah. And there were many times where I was like, this is ridiculous. This is legitimately ridiculous. But there was no other way I could, because at that point it was like, do I go away from the competition equipment? Or at that point, they weren't allowing me to put like my bar at Saco Sport. And am I going to go to like a whippy commercial bar with bumper plates, a couple months out from nationals? Like I didn't want to take that risk. Chris Couillard, Evan Wright, they were kind enough to let me deadlift a couple times over at the shed. But otherwise, I was doing most of my prep here. And so yeah, this is the furthest time. This is the first time I ever flew out to a meet. I was dealing with one of the worst injuries I had ever had until this point, and that was quadriceps tendonitis in my left knee. Legitimately, at points, squatting 60 kilos, 132 pounds, had me in tears. Not like sad tears, like pain tears, because it hurt so much. I was like, what the hell? Of course, you go through the normal human emotions of, why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? And it's never exactly like that. But I remember showing up. Zach Hurst was kind enough to handle me on the day. Zach Hurst, the legend himself. Zach is the only person I've never technically handled at a national meet. Zach is higher than I am when it comes to coaching at the highest level, because he's coached at a fucking national meet.
He was a pretty good handler too.
He was not bad at all. He did a really good job. And the good thing about Zach is he knows the sport, but he doesn't know it like that well to like respect people who are like higher up. So he'll just like step in and just be like, we need to warm up right here. You know what I mean? And it's like, because sometimes like you see someone like, I mean, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I feel like some people sometimes at the meets that we run like are kind of timid around me. Like, can we work in? Of course, I'm always so nice or whatever. Yeah. Zach just like barges right in always and is like, hey, he's going to take a warm up right now, regardless, and we'll start taking the weights off. So that was actually kind of good though.
Were you like, how did you feel like going into this meet? Like, were you nervous?
Yeah, I was generally, because when you go to a local meet, the process is so streamlined. It's like show up, weigh in, equipment check, warm up, lift. Right. You know what I mean? Whereas this was the day before. You have to go out to the venue. You have to check in to make sure that you're registered on, for the meet, that you actually showed up. You have to get all of your equipment checked beforehand. You get your rack heights checked beforehand. You have to get your
badge.
Your badge to be allowed in the warm-up room. If you don't have that, you can't. And there's people checking to make sure like you have the pass. Because if you don't have it, you can't go back to the warm-up room. Right. So all of that, trying to get all of the food and water and stuff that I need to rehydrate, because I was cutting at that time. All of that stuff was kind of a lot. And I'm glad that Zach was there with me, because if I would never go by myself, but, if I didn't have people who were, close to me, it wouldn't have been, as, easy as it was. What I remember most about that is so there was two flights. There was the collegiate side, and then there was the equipped and junior side. There were only a handful of junior lifters, because I had just graduated from college a couple months before that. So I wasn't technically in college, and this was a makeup for the Collegiate Nationals 2020.
Oh. They still even after college, they still let you compete as a collegiate?
Well, this was, okay, so there's two things there. One, yes, but I didn't, because I didn't feel it was right, because I wasn't in college anymore. So I elected to lift as a junior lifter.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. But they were saying, like, people who didn't get to do in 2020 will allow you to and I just didn't think that was fair, because, like, all of these kids are going to school on the daily, and I'm living at home, and I don't have to deal with the stuff they do. I just didn't feel like that was fair. And I knew I was seated, like, pretty good, going into it. So this was probably the most, and I hate to say disappointing, but it was definitely the worst relative performance in terms of my expectations of myself and in terms of execution. This is the first time I did worse than 8 for 9. So I went 7 for 9 this meet. I showed up, and again, I had this knee issue. I was so hyped up on stims and fucking Advil that I just couldn't feel anything. So I was like, I got under the bar, and I was like, okay, I guess we're going to be good. This warm-up room had all pound plates. It was
That's so surprising for a national level meet.
Exactly. I remember there was a big uproar about it. I mean, I personally didn't care, because I was just like, fuck it. But I was kind of a little bit disappointed. I was like, I went all the way out here, and it's like the exact same, but that was neither here nor there. What happened was I actually missed my second squat. What happened was I went out, I took my warm-up, I took the bar out, did everything I normally do, and I remember staring at the judge, and he was just staring at me, and I'm waiting for 5 seconds, I was waiting, of course I had my mask on, so I'm like, looking over the edge of it and whatnot, And then finally, they tell me to rack the bar. So I bring it back in. There's only 10 seconds left. So those of you who don't know, you have a full minute to get a start command when it comes to the squat and the bench press. So I had 10 seconds to get under the bar, do it again, get a start command. I got the start command, missed it because I just held the bar for like 20 seconds on my back, and then plus that extra 5 seconds, and then trying to squat just wasn't there, even though it was close. I remember going to the side judge, like, what is going on here? Because at that point, had never been called for a technicality. They said my knees weren't locked when I unracked the bar. Now, I took some screen grabs, and there was no difference between the second and the third. So it really kind of, really disappointed me because I had high expectations for what I wanted to do. And I did the smart thing. I retook it. I blew it up on the third. It was pretty easy. Really emphasized. And now that I look back on it, I used to not pull my knee sleeves up as much. So there was some folds on the back. So even though I was contracting, I was doing like a leg extension essentially out there, it looked like they were bent. And you know what? That happens. What I was proud of, I was able to PR my bench press on the national stage with the highest level of judging. So it was the first time I benched 281. And then this was the final meet that I pulled hook grip, and this was what made me go away from it. So I opened up at 485, lighter than what I did the meet before. I went to 513 on the second. I hit it, but it didn't feel secure in my thumbs. And then I jumped so I was in a battle with another kid who, if I hit my third deadlift, I would put it out of reach for him based on what he came in with. Me and Zach were going over this game plan. And if I would have hit it, I would have had, would have placed first. But it was 524 rather. I went all the way to the top. I got the down command. They said I didn't get my shoulders back. And that was more so because I was so scared of dropping the bar that I didn't roll them back. I knew if I rolled them back that it was going to fly out of my hands. Yeah. So brought it down. So what didn't happen for you happened to me. The kid waited, saw that I missed, brought his deadlift attempt down, and then smoked it, of course, because it was way lighter than what he needed.
Yeah, well, that's the smart thing to do.
It's the very smart thing to do. And he hit it. He won. I placed second. And that was that. So I went 7 for 9. I was very devastated. I actually I didn't contemplate quitting, but I was like, maybe I'm not who I think I am. Maybe I'm not necessarily a high level lifter. Maybe this is not going to be who I am in the sport. And I took some soul searching. And then what I did, and I'm sorry to go endlessly for me, but as soon as I was done that meet, I registered for my next one. I registered for the Odyssey summer meet, and I committed to myself. I'm like, okay, I'm going to right this ship, and if this happens twice, then I know, okay, maybe this just does not work out, but I need to do this on my own terms. Yeah. So I went out to Odyssey and had, at that point, the meet of my life. So I went 457. I only squatted 435 at Nationals, benched 286, and then I deadlifted 523. It was my first 9 for 9 meet since my second meet. 1267, that was my first 450 dots. So that was huge for me. It was a really cathartic experience. It was a really emotional experience for me. It solidified that, like, hey, and at that point, that was the number 7 junior total in the country, and it was number 8 at year's end, which was pretty cool for me. And that showed me, like, hey, you are who you think you are.
And
you know what I mean?
You don't need to be, like, the best. Like, there's a big difference between, like, 7 and 1.
Right, like, exactly. And I guess my whole point was, I thought that I was never delusional in the point that I thought that I was like the best in the nation or anything like that. But I did think I had potential to be in the top 10, top 20. Yeah. And after I had that performance at Nationals, even though I did pretty good, like we talked about earlier, placed second, got a silver medal at Nationals, is pretty cool. I felt like a failure. Yeah. And it goes to show that that's if you frame your performance on extrinsic stuff, it's not as motivating.
Yeah, you should definitely go for like personal, like just to do better. And
yeah, I mean, there's special circumstances. If you're in a battle with someone, yeah, you want to fucking win.
Right.
But like me placing second overall at Nationals and having my total, that was the first time my total went down from meet to meet. It was very, very humbling to me. And then lastly, I already talked about my most recent meet. That was my breakthrough 1306, first 303 bench, really good. The meet before that was the one that kind of set up for that. So I went, this was when I was teaching. Yeah. I'm not doing that anymore. I went back down to where I went to college. I squatted really well that day. I went 463 rather, which was a big PR at the time. I benched 292, which was huge for me at the time. I tapered. I only benched 280 during that prep. I was like, and I had more on the day. So what the plan was, I was going to do kind of what we talked about, except I planned it for the third attempt. I was like, okay, I'm going to hit 1,300 pounds on total. I'm going to, if I hit X, Y, and Z, I will do it. I put all the numbers. I opened up at 501 on dead, 529 for the second. I went to 546 for the third. If I hit 546, I would have locked in 1,300 pounds. Brought it up. Actually, this time rolled my shoulders back. So I thought
it looked completely clean.
So I got
nothing wrong.
Exactly, like legitimately. So I thought. I put the bar down. I remember I put my hands in my head. I'm like, oh my God, I just told 1,300 pounds. Like, this is the most craziest moment in my life. And literally, this was probably the worst moment ever in my powerlifting career. I see two red lights and one red, or two red lights and one white light. And then my heart just sank. And sometimes people see that and they look around at the judges like, what happened?
Yeah.
I just didn't even bother. I just walked off. And I'm like, because you can't change it.
Well, and they're going to tell you and you're going to be like, what are you talking about? Like,
exactly. So I figured, I'm going to take the high road. Regardless if they say they fucked it, you can't get it back.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I guess we'll wait for the next meet. And then this meet was 16 weeks later, and I avenged it and added 2.5 to it. So basically, I guess the theme is, and I think you have one more meet to talk about, or a couple more.
Yeah, I don't know. I think. Well, I talked about the one that we did.
Yeah,
together,
exactly.
And then I talked about what we did together.
Okay, so you covered all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess the theme of all of this is, one, we all learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, you know what I mean? And the antithesis of that is we all did make mistakes in our first couple of meets, and that is okay.
Right.
But with that being said, you have a ton of information to not make these mistakes. You'd much rather not do the things that we did for the first couple of ones, like lose extra body weight or do a meet 9 weeks after or 4 weeks after. Yeah. And then the other part is, it's not necessarily where you start in the sport. If you keep going, you'd be amazed at where you end up, right? So his first meet, he totaled 909, and within a year, you totaled 1140. I mean, if someone saw 909, they'd be like, okay, this kid's never going to be a great powerlifter. A year later, quite literally, put 200-something pounds on his total. You know what I mean? And that's what's sticking through it. Your first meet was what?
830.
Okay, so in the 800s, and then you were, what, 1272? 1262 at the last meet.
Right. I mean, that's also like almost 10 years later.
I mean, it's 10 years later, but it's also, you haven't gained that much body weight.
Yeah, true. I'm still just one weight class above.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that goes to show, that's my whole point. Stick with it for 10 years. You will add maybe 400 pounds to your total.
And that's what me and you have been talking about recently. Like, now that we are going to nationals, like, we're in it for, like, the long game. Like, we're not going to win this year, and that's fine.
Exactly.
But maybe 5 years from now, maybe we may be, like, 1 or 2.
Yeah, exactly. So but, my whole point, and the point that you're trying to make, is just stick with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like me, 214 bench in my first meet, going up to 303 4 years later. If you would have been in the stands that day and said that kid's going to bench over 300 pounds within the next 3.5, 4 years, everyone would have said no. Like 214 was an all-out grinder. And I haven't gained much body weight myself. You know what I mean? My weigh-ins have always been between 141 and 147.
That's crazy how much progress you've made, and like your body weight hasn't changed a whole lot.
Yeah. So like in the short answer, no, but in the long term, it's like I train heavier and then I cut down too. Right. And I've definitely, my body composition has changed a lot.
Oh, a lot. Yeah.
And you as well, especially with your lower body. Cause before,
right,
like you didn't,
I didn't really have muscular legs at all.
And it was the same thing with my upper body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, again, if you stick with this stuff, and it's going to be cool when we revisit a year later to this and to see what you've done, because you're going to continue making more progress at a faster pace than we are.
It's going to blow up in the 100 kilos.
Exactly. Now I mean, you made the best decision for your career at the next level if you stick with it.
Imagine you at like 235.
Yeah, let's save it.
But in general, whoever is listening to this, stick with it. If you make a mistake, so be it. You will make up for it. There will be more meets later. You know what I mean? Like I messed up on squat. I was able to, make right. You messed up on deadlift. You were able to make it right. And on bench, and your next meet, you'll blow your benches up. We've all had execution errors. There will be more meets. You can get down within the first, day, be disappointed in the day, but after that, it's over. You're going to have another meet to...
Get back to training and find another meet to do. Just like you did.
Exactly. Yeah. And just like, seriously. You know what I mean? It's like, it's as simple as that. Just go do another meet.
Right.
And if you didn't qualify for nationals at this last one...
I would have been doing states anyway.
Just do another meet. Yeah. And you have more time. And life is going to be good. And regardless if you do good or not, the sun is going to shine the next day. Everything will be fine. You just got to not get in your head. So...
That was beautiful.
Yeah, I went on a run there. It was almost like you, right?
No, that got me tearing up.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's end this. Let's do shout outs real quick. So for anyone who has never checked in before, shout outs is a segment where we shout out any entity that we want, anything or anyone. The floor is yours and the floor is yours only. Does anyone have anything they'd like to shout out first?
I don't really.
I have a rather emotional one.
Okay.
Do you?
Go.
Where do I even start with this? This is going to be a different shout out because this almost like isn't even a thing. Like you guys will understand when I say it. I'm just going to go ahead.
Okay.
I'm just going to get it. This week, my shout out is a quote. Baby.
Whoa.
You make me
pray for London.
End quote.
That's a line from one of our favorite songs, Die Hard by Kendrick Lamar.
Third attempt squat song.
Third attempt squat song. You comment on every video I post now. I hope it continues that way, honestly. We won't get into the context of these people.
Hold up, though. Because if I
want it all without you involved, I guess that's all for nothing.
All right, continue.
Shout out Lauren London, man. Shout out Kendrick Lamar. Shout out Blast. Shout out Amanda Pfeiffer, I believe is the singer on that song. Shout out Nipsey Hussle. This one's for Nipsey.
Wow.
That's a hard shout out.
Wow.
I can't believe it. That's the first singing we've had on the podcast.
Singing, if you can call it that, bro.
Well, that's emotional.
Yeah. Wow.
Elliot, you're back. You're back on the Utopiacast.
Good God.
402.
See what happens when the man squats 400 for the first time? He just starts wiling out.
Okay.
Michael, would you like to go next?
Sure. So I want to shout out McDonald's.
Whoa.
I didn't get to
Now wait a goddamn second.
I didn't get to have McDonald's for over 2 months. And then I finally got to have McDonald's last week. And I was so happy. It was so good.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you get?
I got a Big Mac, a McChicken, and spicy chicken nuggets.
Okay. You got the spicy are back. Yeah.
So last year, they were really good. This year, I mean, I was in Poland.
Yep.
So I stopped there, like on my way up to Sunday River.
Yep.
And I don't know, they were like super dry. I was very disappointed because I was super excited.
It's the first batch. Just getting into it, yeah.
But the Big Mac and the McChicken were so good.
It's good
shit,
shit,
McChicken is like the best.
Euphoric?
Yeah.
What are you doing later?
You want to go to McDonald's?
Yeah.
My go-to order is the two cheeseburger meal plain, and I've been getting strawberry shake lately. I love strawberry flavored everything.
Cheeseburgers.
Because it's more protein.
Really?
It's not, bro.
No,
it's more
not.
Carbs.
No, it's actually more fat.
Well,
they taste better.
2 buns. Though.
Okay, that's the only reason.
More protein?
No, it's not. I was just I don't know why I threw that out there. It just tastes better. It just tastes better.
It's like the worst thing.
Okay, but it just tastes better.
Why don't you get like a Big Mac?
Once again, I like the cheeseburgers. They taste better too. I don't like all that shit.
What about a plain quarter pounder?
Pretty whack.
I think quarter pounders
it's the same
are too
thing,
salty.
but just a bigger.
But I could get 2.
No, it's
less
not.
Carbs.
It's a bigger burger.
Are you like under the impression that I need to like limit carbs or something?
You can have more carbs later when you go again.
Everyone watching, does it look like I need to limit carbs?
Whoa.
Okay, you know what I'm
You
saying?
should see that vein on your left arm.
Yo.
Hold up. Nurses, stop watching.
But anyway, strawberry shake. I love strawberry flavored everything. I guess I'll do my shout out now.
And the Shamrock Shakes.
I'm not a Shamrock. I'm not a Shamrock
that's
shake.
whack.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
not a Shamrock guy.
Those are so good.
That's like a.
You guys are lame.
You're bedridden for
It's a toothpaste. It's a toothpaste shake right there.
It's so good. I love mint. Mint chocolate chip ice cream.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm checking out of that one.
Gotta eat a lot of vegetables before you do that.
It's like brushing your teeth in ice cream form. Okay, so I will end my shout out with something I've been posting a lot lately that's just really resonated with me for no reason. Elliot?
Are you about to say what I think you're about to say?
Probably not. No, I definitely am not.
Okay. My bad.
I would be curious to see what you thought I was going to say, but it's definitely not going to be whatever that is. So something that I've been posting a lot lately just has resonated with me for no real reason other than I just think it's hard. It's a TikTok that I came across of my favorite character from Euphoria, my second favorite character from Euphoria, Maddie Perez. Alexa Demie is the actress, in which she says, "Bitch, you're my soulmate." And I've been, just whatever reason, resonating with that. I tell my dog that, who's a female, all the time. I just posted on my Snapchat story with random objects. I made a post on Instagram the other day where I put that at the very end. Again, for no reason. And it's just really stuck with me. I encourage you. There's might be kids watching. The Instagram page that posted the TikTok is called Pussy Wagon. So if you ever want to watch it, go ahead and DM me and I can send it to you. But if you want to look it up, that's what it's called. But yeah, bitch, you're my soulmate.
Yo.
I'm never going to. Okay, I know what you're gonna say. I'm never. I will never. I'm not gonna. I do not. Okay, I'm not gonna say the B word again because I don't want to come off as a misogynistic person. That's not who I am. But I will never forget what she did to me.
Wow.
That being said, in closing, Elliot, do you have anything you want to say to the people?
Well, first off, I thought you were gonna shout out Exodia.
They don't need to know about that yet. We'll talk about that after. Whoa. I'm starting to look a little bit like him though.
Yeah, albeit a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, just glad to be back. Glad to have listeners.
Sucks you weren't on the last one, but
bro, I was so devastated. I literally, for those of you guys wondering, like, I just had work.
The kid works hard.
I work.
I mean, come on. I
literally was working all day today.
Yeah, come on.
Cooking up some chicken Caesar wraps.
Yeah, that's actually.
Elliot makes a good chicken Caesar wrap.
I don't like that shit.
Yo, do not tell anyone. I put so much chicken in that.
Yeah, it was so good.
I put so much chicken in that. Bro, that literally was enough chicken for 5 chicken Caesars. I put it in 2.
He goes, so it's me and my uncle, and he goes, yo, extra chicken for the boys.
All right, Michael, in closing, do you have anything you want to say to the people?
I don't have anything to say.
Okay. That being said, that was episode 10. Jesus Christ, 10 of these that we've done.
Yeah, we said we were going to be done, but I don't think we will.
No, we're just going to keep rolling with it. We have a lot of fun doing these, so we might as well just keep going with it. So yeah, that was episode 10 of the Utopiacast. That was all the meets that we've done. That was Elliot's meet performance. We hope you all enjoyed listening to this. Thank you guys for continuing listening to this and supporting us. We love you all, and take care. All right, let's do a thumbnail. What do we want to do?
Let's cheers the squatters.
Cheers the squatters. Okay, even though I don't have anything left at this point.
I stopped drinking mine. I really...
Fucking finish yours before we even got going. Ellie. Is he finishing it?
He's finishing.
Alright. Let's bring it up so we can see Michael's. Michael, move your hand out more because your face is covered. The other way, Michael. This way.
What? My hand or my face?
Move your hand that way. Yeah, there we go. Bring it in. Bring it down. Right there.